It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to jump on that gigantic, sharp, interactive board. We're going to go through Epson's FY23 first 9 months. The numbers are in. Epson, you're doing a great job with your numbers. You could consistently produce operating profit. The print business for Epson's doing really well. Epson could teach some other folks a few things about the importance of profitability, I assure you. But today I wanted to look at Epson's numbers, and I wanted to dissect them in a way that hasn't been dissected. And I want to share my thoughts around this because I think I came across a way to do this that could help Epson focus on what I want them to focus on. Wiping out light production laser printers and get them the hell out of the marketplace and replace them with ink. Epson has this great opportunity. Our friends over at Rizzo has this great opportunity. Kyocera has this great opportunity. We need to get rid of the laser and replace it with ink because ink is so much more better for the end user. And I know there's some people out there that are going to say, oh, no, ink's not going to work everywhere. Well, it'll work in a whole lot of places, and there's still a whole lot of potential for Epson, Rizzo, and Kyocera. So without any further ado, let's just jump in there and see what's going on at Epson. First 9 months, total company total revenue is $6.7 billion. Operating profit is $347.8 million, 5.2%. And the operating profit is actually down 3% year over year. If you think about that, ladies and gentlemen, look, I get it. Konika's the worst player in the space, but could you imagine if their operating profit dropped 3% year over year? It'd be so far in the red, it'd be crazy, right? And this is the importance of making sure that you're a stable company and that you can produce operating profit. So when you have hiccups and you have challenges, you can still come out pretty good shape. So I got to congratulate Epson, 5.2% operating profit for the company overall, even though they were down 3% year on year. They did get a bump from the Forex, the foreign exchange rate. I mean, the weakness of the yen is getting crazy. And it helped our friends at Epson out on their operating profit by $104.5 million. It was a 15.5 billion yen improvement based on the Forex. And that's 30% of the operating profit as a total. So, the yen and the weakness of the yen is playing interesting roles within the industry, and it affects different players in different ways. But at the end of the day, Epson, congratulations as a company, 5.2% operating profit your first 9 months. There's no reason to believe that you're going to come in with anything less than that for your year wind up. Let's go ahead and dig into this a little bit deeper. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I do the Epson end of the year financials, we'll get into their other divisions more. I really wanted to focus on the printing solutions part of their business for today's episode. So in their documentation, by the way, all this documentation is all over their OEMs websites. I got to remind people of that because some people still tell people I make it all up. I did translate the yens into dollars. And folks, if you look at the printing solutions business, $4.6 billion for the first 9 months for Epson. Operating profit, this is unbelievable, $500.7 million. Folks, that's a 10.8% operating profit. Think about that. $500.7 million. That is fantastic. I mean, if you took that $500 million and you went to Konica Minolta's financials, you'd have to go back like 7 years to add up to get $500,000. And folks, this is amazing stuff. The excuse that some of these OEMs are giving everybody about how it's COVID and the Chinese shut down and blah, blah, blah. Well, it isn't affecting them to make their money. And we need to congratulate them for that. Office and home printing. $3.3 billion of the $4.6 billion. And their operating profit was $286.4 million in that group. That's pretty fantastic. Commercial and industrial printing, $1.3 billion of the $4.6 billion. The operating profit portion was $212.5 million, 15.9%. And ladies and gentlemen, what I wanted to do, I'm going to share a slide with you here. I wanted to take these numbers and apply them to the products in more of a visual. So inside of Epson's financial presentation, they have a page here, and it's got the other divisions they sell as well. I just wanted to focus on the printing division. So I took this screenshot, and this is the office and home printing. and printing innovation. It breaks it down. You got office and home, inkjet products, and Soho Home. And down here you got office shared. And I took the revenue portions for these divisions so we could apply it and get a visual. So if you think about the office, home, Soho Home, that's $2.6 billion. 9 months worth of revenue for Epson. And that's on that high capacity ink tank model and the ink cartridge model. Think about that. That's a boatload of money, right? But here's the one I want us to all pay attention to. And Epson, here's your opportunity, okay? This is the Rizzo opportunity. This is the Kyocera opportunity. Go and take out those laser light production machines. We have a $355.6 million business inside office shared. That's not a lot of money. That's 9 months worth of revenue, and that's worldwide. And that includes that machine we see right here. That machine that could easily wipe out a lot of laser light production, right? There's that machine right there, kind of loaded out. Look at that thing, man. Saddle stitch finisher. It's awesome, right? Less moving parts. There's so many millions of laser machines that could be replaced with this Epson. The opportunity is off the chart. I mean, they're doing $39.5 million a month worldwide in this product category. The opportunity is off the chart. And when you look at it this way and you start thinking about this, it's like, wow. And by the way, the Americas portion of revenue is about 30%. So 30% of $355 million. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a huge opportunity here in the U.S. for Epson to go in there and wipe out these laser light production machines. They got to get aggressive and go after it. That's almost unacceptable revenue at this point in time for as long as they've been in our space. If you go over here to the commercial and industrial, it's a $975.2 million worldwide number. And you know, that's their big stuff. Their photo, their corporate, their signage, their textiles, their label press. I don't see any revenue number highlighted for the printhead and sales business. It's in this set category, I'm pretty sure. But the small printers and others is $365.5 million. That's the small printer POS and the portable label printer. That's a big business in its own right, that label printer. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, for Epson, this is the sweet spot. Go sell these things. Let me write it on there. Sell. Sell, 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 sell. Go into the marketplace and get those dealers to replace that laser-driven light production color with Epson. Epson, figure out how to bring business color and replace all those business laser machines. So much opportunity. They just got to fight for it. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to show this slide, and this kind of breaks out the revenue per geography. In the Americas, total revenue for the company was $2.2 billion in the Americas of the $6.7 billion total. So there's a lot of room to grow in Americas, especially in the space that I just described. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you know, Americas represents 30% of the revenue. If you go back to that other side, 30% of $355 million is not a lot of money. There's huge opportunity here in Americas. There's huge opportunity in Europe. There's huge opportunity all over the world if Epson's willing to fight for that opportunity. Let's talk about some of the consolidated financial report information. I thought this was kind of interesting. Epson, you've got an awesome performance here. Your asset to equity ratio is 57.29. You got 43% of your assets are encumbered. But here's something I thought was really cool. If you look at their assets total is $9.6 billion, but they only have $175 million of that $9.6 billion as intangible assets. That's just remarkable. I mean, I had to do the math like twice. I mean, that is remarkable. It's 1.7% of their assets. I talked about Konica Minolta's disastrous financials yesterday. And folks, first of all, 62% of Konica Minolta's assets are encumbered as a comparison. But their goodwill and intangible assets is $1.8 billion. It's 20% of their total assets. And, you know, intangible goodwill, that's where all those impairment charges come from. Of course, Konica likes impairment charges, so they probably got some more coming, right? But 20% versus 1.7%. That's a great performance. Good job. Good job, Epson. I wanted to look at this. You know, yesterday we talked about Konica's cost of sales and selling and general expenses, and I want to share some insights when you compare that to Epson. So Epson's cost of sales is $4.3 billion, is 64% of their revenue. Where Konica Minolta, it's only 57% of the revenue. So some of you all say, well, see, Konica's doing so much better for cost of sales. Well, keep in mind, Epson, they're really a wholesale house, right? They're a manufacturer that sells through distribution. They're not out there building direct operations, right? They're not out there selling a bunch of IT services and all this other stuff. They're selling print equipment, and they're selling other equipment. They're selling things that they make. And those things that they're selling that they make are being distributed by partners. So their cost for sales in this category will be a little bit higher. Their gross profit's going to be a little bit lower, 36%, versus over at Konica Minolta where it's 43%. But here's the number, ladies and gentlemen. Selling and general expenses are $1.9 billion over here at Epson, and it's 29% of the revenue. At Konica Minolta, it's 42% of the revenue, selling and general expenses. 42% of the revenue, and they only have 43% gross profit. That's why they have a 0.4% operating profit for the 9 months ending December 2022, and they're sitting on a 1% operating profit for the 9 months ending December of 2023. So I guess it's easy to say, this is something you don't want to achieve. And over here, this is something you want to shoot for. This is why OEMs have to decide what are they going to be. Are they going to be an OEM that sells through distribution? Or are they going to be an OEM that tries to do everything for everybody and end up not making any money and being a train wreck disaster? I think Epson's making the right decisions. Now, I do want to suggest to Epson that I think they should rethink this whole thing with the DBJ and Epson Invest in 3DEO and getting into the 3D and all this. Folks, our industry is trying to get into this 3D because somebody a long time ago called it a 3D printer, and they should have never called it a 3D printer. They should have called it a 3D manufacturing device because it has nothing to do with print. And every time anybody gets into it in our space, they seem to not do really well with it. And so I really caution our friends over there at Epson on this. You know, decide quick if it's going to work. If it's not going to work, bail out. Be done with it. Sometimes our industry doesn't make decisions quick enough to bail out. But I believe, Epson, you have a great opportunity to wipe out light production laser printers. And I'll tell you right now, and this is going to sound a little bit abrasive maybe, but I focus on the weakest OEM, and that's Konica. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, when an industry is being disrupted, when your end users don't need the product near as much as they used to, it's time to go to battle, okay? Because you can't have everybody in the room playing or consolidate. Some people are going to have to go away. And if we all know that some people have to go away, then the players that want to remain, well, they need to start at the weakest link and try to wipe them off the map. Let me repeat what Wayne Galloway said a long time ago, when he was a CEO of PepsiCo. He says, nothing focuses the mind better than a competitor that wants to wipe you off the map. And maybe, if the industry focused on wiping out the weakest link, Konica, off the map, maybe Konica would say, ooh, we better get playing right. Or maybe, in fact, they would wipe Konica off the map. Lots of opportunities for Epson, lots of opportunities for Rizzo, another ink player, and our friends at Kyocera, another ink player. Ink is definitely going to play a huge role in our future. Let's bring the future to today. Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.